Guys, this ban list made me moist. I know that's a weird way to open a video, but I got nothing else. This ban list is fucking amazing. For those of you who haven't heard, and how could you not have at this point, we got a ban list today. Not after the Megatons like I thought, not after Worlds like a lot of people always assume. Nope, a random Monday in the middle of July, and the list is effective immediately. And you know what? Fuck yeah, I am happy. This list is great. It's a huge-ass list. Maybe the biggest we've ever gotten. But you know what? I love it. It's the big meta shakeup I've been waiting for like a year at this point. This is the big one. Everything gets hit. Ton of crazy shit comes off the list. This is a badass, awesome list. And I love it. And since it's also really long, I'll try not to spend too much time on any one card, but at the same time, like, some of these hits are insane. Like, good lord, I don't do reaction videos because my reaction to these lists are never that exciting, but this one, like, oh god, it's amazing! I freaking yelped when I saw it for the first time. So yeah, let's just get right on into it. We will start with banned cards first, because a lot of the hits here make sense. And also, more importantly, the stuff that has been put to 3 kind of scares me a little. But we'll get into that in a hot minute. So first and foremost, banned ECLIPSE Wyvern. I don't like this card at all. It's one of those cards that only exists to be part of degenerate abuse, so seeing it get the axe is nice. We have Omni Dragon Brotar for Danger Thunder, so I don't know how much this hit will really affect things, but it's one of those lists where, for me personally, it was good to see it go. Next on banned cards, we have the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche. This hit is awesome. I really hate the way Orchest abused this card, and the way everything is abused this card. Like, first it was PK Fire. I mean, obviously that's the deck this thing is part of, but like, then it was Rongo, then it was frickin' Azathoth Turbo, then it was like Orchest. It's just insane what this card has turned into. It always sucks to see a monster get ruined because of other archetypes, but it had to happen. And I'm saying this is a guy who doesn't like it when cards get banned, but like, this thing had to go. Like, there's no other way. Moving on, we go on to the limited section. First up, ALTERGEIST MULTIFAKER. This kind of feels like one that should have happened like 6 months ago, but fuck it. I hate ALTERGEIST. Many of you will know I really don't like this deck. So seeing it get hit really makes me smile. Now, is this the biggest hit in the world? No. Meluseek can search it out, personal spoofing can get it out, and once you have one, you kind of just recycle it and keep a loop going with it, so the deck is still functional, but seeing it get any sort of harder time just, oh, it makes me happy. Then moving on, we have Black Dragon COLLAPSERPENT. I mean, I thought they'd hit the white guy, but not this one, since the white guy is the one that leads to all the problems, but hitting both is probably the right call, considering how easily these things are abused, especially with Brotar, so yeah, it makes sense. It just sucks, because I actually have 2 supers of each, and it sucks one of each will just sit in my binder for, like, probably ever, because, yeah. So then moving on, we have SALAMANGREAT GAZELLE. My heart goes out to the budget players. Salad was, for so many people, their chance to, on a budget, get a tier 1 deck. Yeah, they couldn't get Phantasmes, but it was a nice thing for a lot of people. But unfortunately, the deck kind of took over the world, so yeah, it had to get hit. Although hitting the deck's main starter, like, oh god, that's a hit to the balls, man. Like, that's a big hit, and it's going to be interesting to see what the deck does from here, considering another hit we'll get into in a little bit. Moving on, Tempest Dragon Ruler of Storms. Bust out your Harpy decks, people. Bust out your Mecha Phantom Beast decks. You've got your boss monster back. You can do it! Okay, all joking aside, though, the OCG has had this card back for a while, and they don't seem to have a problem with it. Wind attribute-based decks aren't doing a lot at the moment, and I actually kind of wouldn't mind seeing the Dragon Rulers back at 1, because, well, when they hit to 1, they kind of just became these nice techs for attribute-based decks, and they helped them out quite a bit. So, you know, especially now that number 95 is banned, you know, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but yeah, we'll see where this goes. Then White Dragon Wyvern Buster. This one definitely had to get hit. The way these two cards are abused with each other, the way they're abused in Danger Thunder, the way they've been abused in other Chaos decks, I think these were long hits coming. Again, it's sad because they're cards I use, so seeing them go is always a little disheartening, but it kind of just had to happen, and I respect that. Then moving on, DAIGUSTE EMERAL is back at 1. I'm kind of okay with this. It's a lot harder to just make toolboxy rank 4s than it used to be since we're in Link era, especially because there isn't really a lot of level 4 monster abuse going on at the moment. So seeing another option for those decks that can make it in the same way Abyss Dweller is a good option is interesting. This also kind of helps Salad, because they can maybe work with this card. But all in all, I don't think its days of being as abused as it was are here anymore, so I think it going to 1 is a nice little step in the right direction. So then moving on, also at 1, we have Salamangreat Circle. This is the one that really makes me think, what does the deck do from here? Because it's like you can hit Gazelle to 1, and it's like it sucks, but we can search it with Circle. Well, Circle is now at 1, and so that hits the deck's consistency a lot. Shut up, train! I'm not stopping my recording. You can't rule my life! But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where the deck goes from here. It'll be a sad day, definitely, but it's kind of, I get it, yeah. Next! Fuck yes! This is my favorite hit on the list. Sky Striker Mega Modulus Multi-Roll is at 1. About fucking time. I hate this card. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. This was the problem with me and Sky Striker, because, like, it was this thing that was the problem. You can't chain to anything. They do some bullshit to steal your monsters with the Widow Anchor, and then they tribute it for this thing. And then it's like they just get all their cards back, so they just reuse everything. And yeah, they get banished afterwards, but it don't matter because you lose! So yeah, I hate this card. And if there was ever one card to get hit in Sky Striker, I'm glad it was this one. Next, Terraforming to 1. This was a long time coming. It had to happen. So yeah, that's nice to see. Trickstar Light Stage. I think ultimately this is more of an indirect hit to Orcust, because they like abusing this thing with Korribane, just like with the Salamangreats, and even Rusty to a certain extent. I feel sorry for the fans of this deck. Like, you've got to lose one of your best cards because just other decks abusing it, but like, I don't know what you do at the moment until Orcust get hit seriously, probably in a few months. So then we have Metaverse. Same logic as Terraforming. If anything, it's weird they hit this because it's getting the super reprint in the OTS pack, but ultimately, yeah, this thing is super problematic, especially if you open it and you can activate Mystic Mine on your opponent's turn. So yeah, I think it was a safe bet. This card had to go as well, and I'm happy to see it go to 1 because Field Spells kind of became the most abused type of spell in the game. So seeing things that kind of stop that is very important. Moving on to the semi-limits, Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End. This thing has been neutered so bad, its testicles follow it as ghosts. So yeah, I don't even care. It could go to 3, and I don't think it would matter. Danger Nessie, Jackalope, and Sneck Ulta 2. This is a big deal. Like, Konami loves their TCG exclusive archetypes. So to see, the archetype basically be forgotten about in Dark Neostorm, and then to hit them, especially when they want to use these things to sell the Megatins, that's kind of crazy, but it had to happen. These cards were, oh god, the problem with Dangers is they're just so easy to abuse, because these 3 alone give you 9 upstarts in your deck, as well as extra cards as well. So yeah, these had to go. And putting them to 2, this is where the semi-limit list comes important. Just putting them to 2 really affects how the decks that use them are played, because you want to make them a quarter of your deck, but you can't do that anymore. So will we go in the direction of using lesser ones like Mothman and Bigfoot? Could we see the engine just become a like a 6-piece engine, and just we find other supplementary things? I don't know, but it's glad to see some more deck building come back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Now that the engine that just became like, no shit, you play these, has been hit. So it's nice, and I like it. Then we have Ether, the Heavenly Monarch, to 2. I am not personally a fan of Monarchs. I hated that deck when it was out, but at the same time, they're not doing anything at the moment. Give them some extra toys, it's fine. STRATOS to 2. This makes me happy. I love seeing STRATOS come back. Heroes didn't do anything with it at 1. They're not going to do anything with it at 2. But it's a fun deck, and it's nice to see it get some toys back. So I'm happy. I'll definitely fool around with the deck for a little bit now. It's at 2. Will it really go anywhere? Doubtful, but it's nice to see. INZEKTOR Dragonfly, I don't really remember anything about INZEKTORs, and I never played the deck, so good for you. I don't think it would do anything even at 3. PERFORMAGEDAMAGE Juggler, I think all the Performages could come back at this point. I know that seems insane because of Plush Fire, but what are you really doing with them? Pendulum as a mechanic kind of doesn't really work doesn't really work that well with this deck, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Shrew it to 2. Sure, why not? Necros aren't doing much. It's crazy to say in 2019 Necros aren't doing too much, but they aren't, so give them the strength. Royal Tribute to 2. This is a little scary considering Necro Valley is kind of creeping its head in sort of stun-based decks and decks that don't need to rely on the graveyard, so could this do something? Maybe, but it's kind of useless after turn 1. Because so many decks just vomit all their monsters out. And even on turn 1, a lot of decks utilize the graveyard. So if you're not careful, and like if they have enough recovery spells in hand, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about this one. We'll just sort of see where it goes. And then moving on to 3-ofs. A lot of these 3-ofs scare me. Like, they really do. WYVERN Scout is probably the only one that doesn't. And WYVERNs were a super powerful ass deck back in the day. But you know, the way Pendulum's been hit, the fact that we have Links, which can hurt them, I think, yeah, Scout to 3. It's a 3 in the OCG and doing nothing, so it's fine. Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, is at 3. This kind of worries me, because it feels like we're seeing Pendulum lists come out of every major tournament that are using this card and Ignister to abuse the Guard Dragon engine. Come to think of it, the Guard Dragon engine didn't get hit on this list at all, so Danger Thunder still has it, but Pendulum Magician also has it. And 3 Luster is a little scary. So, yeah, I don't like that so much. Trish to 3, I mean, hand loop decks, I don't really know if you'll see that many of them. Is a hand loop with Trish even that consistent anymore? Like, synchro spamming isn't what it used to be prior to the Link era. And considering we don't even have Needle Fiber, Tuner Abuse isn't super great at the moment. Could we see it show up? Maybe, but I doubt it, really. Then we have Dark Hole to 3. I'd almost rather take Raigeki to 3. Yeah, I know that sounds weird, but with Dark Hole, board wipes aren't what they used to be, but being able to be a deck like, say, BA, which still rears its ugly head now and again, being a deck like BA and then putting a bunch of BA monsters and then getting to trigger them off with a Dark Hole almost seems scarier than Dark Hole killing my own board, considering so many decks have protection and floating effects. So, I don't know. We'll see where this goes. Monster Gate to 3 scares me. It really does. Infernoids can be a super crazy, super powerful deck and still have access to a lot of crazy cards. Will we see that happen? I don't know. People have to also want to have the desire to use the deck, and we don't know at the moment, but Infernoids do have a lot of fans, and getting one of their best cards back at 3 is a little scary. Then we move on to Rekindling. I know my breaths are getting heavier, but this is a lot of talking. I'm on my 3rd attempt at recording this video to get it timed better. Rekindling. Quasar Abuse, anybody? Or certain decks that can do Link Abuse? I don't know. Can you get enough 200 defense point fire monsters in the grave and then use this thing to actual efficiency? Tired. I don't know. We'll wait and see. The last 2 are the ones that kind of make me a little scared. Super Poly to 3. Freaking Salad abuses that card. I know Salad got hit pretty hard on this list, but they can still abuse it. And Danger Thunder, a deck that I think will still be very prevalent, can also abuse this card. So that's a little scary, seeing where that will go. But as a guy who likes this card a lot, I can't help but be excited to see what happens next for it. And last but not least, the thing I kind of like least, Solemn Judgment is at 3. I don't know if this is a good idea. I don't know why we didn't put it at 2 first to test the waters, but here it is. For those of you who don't know, it has been a long time since Judgment has been at 3 in this game, and it led to some very interesting ruling debates back in the day. So seeing it go to 3, and also just seeing the fact that Guru Control didn't get hit, ALTERGEIST got hit, but it still has the ability to be abusive. Striker will most likely go to a more control variant now that they have to be more careful with resources. I almost think Judgment could see a bit of a resurgence, especially when at 3 you can rely on it more. And as we all know, the only life point that matters in this game is your last one. So I'm a little nervous to see where this card goes. But all in all, this list is amazing. Like, I love it. I really fucking love it. So, all the hits, all the way decks change. I think most of the decks can still function. I think they can still play and be powerful, but they got checked. Players now have to be creative and think of new ways to use their cards. And I think that's really cool and one of the best things about Yu-Gi-Oh! So all in all, I'm pretty damn excited for this list and can't wait to start testing. So yeah, give me your thoughts on this list below. I'm sorry this video still wound up being long as fuck, but there's a lot to talk about. Give me your thoughts about that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me for what I think is going to be a much more fun format.